Thank you, Sally. And now to the latest on the Pennsylvania Senate. The latest Rasmussen Reports poll as of August 17th shows Republican Pat Toomey with 46%, while Congressman Joe Sestak gets 37%.
We talked with Pat Toomey just last week, so keep it all fair and balanced, as we say. Congressman Joe Sestak joins us this morning.
Good morning.
To see you, Congressman. Last time I saw you on tape, at least, Bill Clinton was in town, Michael Bloomberg in from New York. And, of course, the reason why people say, why don't you have President Obama come? Of course, he was supporting Arlen Specter. For what other reason would you not have him come in? I guess that's a big one.
Oh, for none. I would have him in a heartbeat, and I'm sure he will soon be here, just like I want Michelle Obama to come here. Look.
Other people are steering away from the president. You are inviting him to come? You want him to be here?
Without a question. Look, he's president of the United States. But more than that, Pennsylvanians aren't going to make up their mind just on who comes in. They're going to look at the two alternatives they have, and they have a great choice this time. I served my country for 31 years in the Navy. We don't breed conservatives or liberals. We breed problem solvers. And when I get to the Senate, I'm going to focus on creating jobs in small businesses with tax cuts for the middle class. On the other hand, you have Congressman Toomey, who has a different set of values than us. It's fine he made a career up on Wall Street, but then when he went to Congress, he continued to fight for them.
But he hasn't been on Wall Street for years.
That's correct. He deregulated those rules that let Wall Street gamble with yours and my savings.
Well, I've seen your ad about the derivatives.
I don't have an ad yet. I actually haven't put an ad up. But keep in mind, what he wants to do is take Social Security and end it, and let it be put into Wall Street so that they might gamble with our senior savings.
Well, whose ad is it then, calling him Mr. Wall Street and how he endorsed derivatives?
That is a Democratic senatorial.
But isn't your name on the end of it? You don't do...
No, not at all. So see, here's what's happening.
You could have that pulled, though, if you didn't like it.
What's that?
You could have that thing pulled if you didn't like it.
It's against the law to even know that they're going to put that up. It's called independent expenditure. But that's the difference between Congressman Toomey and me. He's had $5 million of big corporations, special interest groups that have rolled in. Look, they want him to be elected. He actually voted for large corporations to get tax breaks if they invest in foreign factories. That's the choice they have between someone who will be for them, big corporation, and someone who will even stand up to his party.
But in that ad, it says that
wrong.
In that ad, it says that he was part of the risky derivatives plan, but he was out of there by the time that went into law.
Well, as you saw on the halls of Congress, he stood up and said, I think that these exotic derivatives are very innovative and are really changing our economy for the better. The concern I have is he's now opposed to the financial reform bill we passed to put a referee back on the football field so they can't gamble any longer. But I'm most concerned that he wants to end Social Security by letting us have all their Social Securities of our seniors be placed into Wall Street. We would have had 20 million seniors moved into poverty if his plan had succeeded. That's the difference. He believes wealth might trickle down from Wall Street. I'll fight every day, even when my party's wrong, for working class, for the middle class, those who actually have perspiration when they work.
Okay, we want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the mosque. You know, Mayor Michael Bloomberg was here last week backing you, and he talked about the mosque and his support behind it. Where are you on that?
Well, you know, I walked out of the Pentagon on 9/11. 20 minutes later, Shawnette, a plane went into that building. People I knew never came out. I'm very sensitive to how people feel. But several months later, I was on the ground in Afghanistan for a short mission as head of the Navy's anti-terrorism unit. I not only was hunting terrorists, but I was defending our Constitution. And our Constitution says, and I support it, religious freedom. And this is a New Yorkers issue to resolve, and they should come together and resolve it. I'm aware of the sensitivities, but however they resolve this must respect our Constitution.
You think you should put it
That's
there?
their decision to make. But whatever decision it must...
It is their decision.
It is their decision, but it must adhere to the constitutional right of religious freedom and separation of church and state. It's something I defended for 31 years in the military. It's our Constitution.
You know, actually, Muslims do pray every day at the Pentagon, inside the Pentagon walls.
You know, Mayor Bloomberg,
they actually give them time. If you take time, go ahead and do it right there.
Even on my ship, we had a helicopter officer that said, I will leave my office so those of the Muslim faith could come in and pray 5 times a day. We're Americans.
But why can't politicians just say, you know what, I don't think it should be there, or I think it should be there? In other words, pick a lane. Like the governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, he won't pick a lane either.
No. Why play politics with religion? That's not what this country's founded on. It's founded on laws, a constitution, not of men and women. We live under laws, and that's why America is so admired around the world.
Okay, the election's going to come down to the economy. And do we have jobs in Pennsylvania? You're going to have to say, as they go into the... Do you think the stimulus that you voted for, stimulus package and the bailouts, has that helped us? There's really no way to prove that, is there by November?
You know, the studies have come out just a week ago by John McCain's economist advisor that said 8 million more Americans would not have jobs today if it were not for the stimulus. Look, my first job in the Navy during the Vietnam War era was damage control officer. When I went to Congress, the year the recession began, my first job, unfortunately, was control the damage. But now, to your point, how do we create jobs? That's why my bill says a 15% tax credit for every new job a small business creates, because small businesses, Mike, of less than 20 people lost half the unemployed. We would soak them up in 2 years with my piece of legislation. Community banks guaranteeing their loans in the community to credit-worthy businessmen and women. We've lost 100,000 jobs in Philadelphia in the last 30 years. So it's not just the recession. How do we get us really steaming forward? Let's change Washington to focus on where the working families of Pennsylvania are employed, small businesses.
Boy, if the economy does inch up a little bit, how are you going to close that gap in the polls? I mean, you're behind by 9 and 1, about 2 points behind in the closest one I can
Mike,
find.
I'm not worried about my job. I'm worried about their job out here. But at the end of the day, we
You can't help them unless you win.
That's right. But at the end of the day, we Pennsylvanians are very commonsensical. We know Congressman Toomey voted for every George Bush failed policy that gave us and torpedoed our ship when we were sinking. We had to caulk those holes so 700,000 people in America were losing their jobs every day. These were tough decisions we had to take.
And you voted for
again.
majority of the president's plan, so it's going to come down pretty crystal clear, black and white. Pat Toomey or you?
Yes, someone who believes in an ideology of Wall Street and the wealth might trickle down, and someone that just wants to work with everyone, all ideas on the table. Let's solve our problems pragmatically.
Do you tweet?
Yeah, not that often, but every so often, yes.
Well, you're probably way behind, as all of us are. You know Lady Gaga? Do you know Britney Spears? Do you know those names?
I do now.
You're making him nervous.
That's Lady Gaga right there.
No,
that's not her.
Lady Gaga.
That's Britney there. Okay, so Britney Spears and Lady Gaga have been in this battle for the most